Hello guys, it's Luke Media. Today in this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to use Facebook ads to generate leads for your business, regardless of what it is you do. So this is going to be a step-by-step walkthrough designed for beginners. I'm going to be walking you through the technicalities of how to set up Facebook ads, but also what are the creative steps that make a great Facebook ad, because there are a few things you need to know when designing a Facebook ad in order to get the best results. Let's jump straight into it, guys. So I'm here in Facebook Ads Manager, which if you haven't set up already, Google how to do it. It's super easy. We're going to create a new campaign inside of Ads Manager, and what we're going to click on is lead generation. Now, you'll see there's a heap of different options here. Each different option or objective, campaign objective, creates a campaign in a way that it generates a different result. And if you highlight them, you can see what Facebook is designing each campaign to do. So if we selected brand awareness, it's most likely to show your ad to people who are most likely to remember them. Versus if we select video views, show people video ads. Or if we click app installs, people who want to install an app. It's a bit of a no-brainer, but it does make a difference if you want something like traffic and you're sending people to your website, or in our case, we're trying to generate leads. And the best way to do that is by collecting leads inside of Facebook. And that's what this does. So I recommend you choose that. And if we hit this drop down here, you can see it opens up a preview of our campaign, ad set and ad. Now, what you can do here is simply give it some names. So this makes it easier as you go through the process. So let's give it a name of lead generation as a campaign. And your ad set does your audience, placement, schedule, and spending. So we probably don't want to call it lead generation ad set, but we might call it South Australia, because that's who we're going to be targeting potentially. And then the ad we might call SA lead gen. This way we understand what we're working on, and it's really important to accurately name your stuff, because as you start running more ads, it's going to be harder to keep track of what's going on inside your ad campaigns. Hitting continue starts to generate these campaigns. Now, these campaigns are set up almost as folders now. There's nothing in them, but they're set up there, and now we can start filling it in. So as I mentioned previously, there's kind of three subsets of Facebook ads: the campaign set, the ad set, and then the ad itself. Now, each follows through in a hierarchy. So the ads sit within the ad set, and the ad set sits within the campaign. But the ads draw down on the information from the ad set, and the ad sets draw down on the information from the lead generation. So it cascades down the information. So information you set up in the lead generation in the campaign will follow through to all the ads underneath that. So keep that in mind as you're building out your ads. Now, Facebook has a heap of fairly advanced tools for you to use. If you haven't used them before, I don't really recommend trialing them. First one is an A/B test you see here. This is a pretty self-explanatory one. Facebook lets you choose two different photos to put in, or two different text versions, and then Facebook shows both and determines which works best. You can do this manually as well if you want in Facebook ads, but Facebook's made it easier to do it here. Campaign budget optimization simply distributes your campaign budget across the ad sets you have set up. So if you have 5 ad sets underneath here, and one of them performs really well and one of them performs terribly, then it will give more money to one that's performing well. In this case, we don't really want to do anything here because we've already set it up as a lead generation ad. You do want to note if you are running ads about social issues, elections, or politics, you do need to select the special ad category and fill out some more information. But in this case, we're not. In this video, we're actually going to be running ads about real estate agents and generating leads for selling a house. I've just chosen this because it's a fairly broad example that we all understand, but feel free to niche down and take your own business idea and apply it to this video. So, how do you want to connect with people? We're inside of the ad set now, and we're starting to set up the information like how we're generating the ads, who we're targeting, the budget, the audience, and where the ad's going to be shown. So in this case, Facebook gives us a few options. We can use their instant forms, which are like a lead generation page that appears within Facebook. We will be using this. We could use their automated chat messenger bot as well that Facebook Messenger has built in. Or we could get people to call our business if that's what you want. In this case, we're going to use instant forms because it means we can collect people's data and then follow up with them later and make them a customer of ours. So select instant forms. We'll set up the form later in the ad. Next is the page. In this case, I've got a few pages. If you don't have a few pages, you just have your page there. Dynamic creative is similar to the A/B testing that we talked about earlier. This means you can put in 5 different headlines or 5 different images, and Facebook will rotate between them to find out what works best. So that's an interesting little tool if you want to spend more work up front, but get better results in the long run. We can select a catalog as well if we want to. Now a catalog will have your products in it. In this case, we're not that interested in selecting a catalog because we don't need to. We're not selling products. We're going to be generating leads for a real estate business. We're in the budget and scheduling area here. Now Facebook has 2 options. You can choose a daily budget. This allows you to set a start and end date and pick a daily budget. So obviously if we run it for a week and spend $20 a day, it's $140. Or if we want, we can select a lifetime budget. Say for example, your boss gives you $500 to spend. You put your $500 in here and then you set your start and end date, and Facebook will distribute that $500 across that period that you've selected. So that's really cool as well. If we hit show more options, we can actually edit when the ads are running. If we hit ads run on a schedule, we can adjust when we want the ads to run, for example, which is kind of cool. So if you want to target people in the evenings, before they go to sleep, so on, so forth. In this case, we're going to run ads all day because people sign up for businesses all day, and there's no need to run ads on a certain schedule. Now, here we are in the audience section. So this is an important part about lead generation because you need to target the right people. Let's jump into the mindset of a real estate agency, and we're in South Australia because that's where I live, and we're targeting a certain suburb and we're trying to gain more property listings in that suburb. So we would want to target a specific suburb, and we'd probably want to target a certain age group. In this case, we'd probably want to target homeowners, which is probably in the current climate about 40 plus year olds. So how we do this is we have create new audience here. We're going to go down to the location first off and edit it. We're going to get rid of Australia. And in this case, I'm going to put in the suburb I want to target, which I'm just going to choose one that's semi-local to me, which is Norwood, South Australia. Hit that, and you can see Facebook recognizes it's a suburb. And you can see we're now inside the Norwood suburb. Now, it's worth noting, that's Norwood there. You can see on the right-hand side here that Facebook has given us an audience update. So you can see so far we've got 3,300 people we can potentially reach inside this audience. And that audience is targeting people 18 to 65 plus years old, all genders, and that's it. So we might want to expand that audience. And one way we can do that is by dropping a pin. If we drop a pin here, Norwood, we can then adjust the radius of this pin by going back up here, and let's select a 1 mile radius. So now we've got a bit of a bigger reach than Norwood, and now we're reaching to 63,000 people, which is great. That's a much more reasonable size audience. Now, because we're targeting homeowners that are looking to sell their house, we probably want to put the age bracket closer to 35 to 65 plus. There you go. That drops the people down to 35,000 people. So we've lost about half, but realistically, that's probably about an accurate audience. We want to keep both genders because men and females own houses, and we can hit save this audience. so we understand, we can give it a name and we can keep track of it. Let's call it Norwood, and let's put the age in here, 35 plus. This is really helpful to give your audience a descriptive name, so that when you're going through and later when you have hundreds of audiences, you can understand what each audience is. So hit save, and that's saved now. And you can see that, where is it? There's the audience. It's called Norwood 35 plus. Now we come to placements next. Placements refers to where your ad is shown on the Facebook network, because Facebook own Instagram, they own Facebook obviously, and they have different subsections within each app. They've got, Instagram shopping, Instagram stories, Facebook stories, Messenger, so on, so forth. And then they have audience network, which is a whole nother network of advertising spots, like on websites and Reddit and places like that, where you can reach, but you don't get any control over that. So if we select manual placements, you can see all the options available to us. You can see that Messenger's grayed out because we can't run lead generation ads in Messenger, but you can see Facebook, Instagram, and audience network are selected. Now, as we run through here, we can see the preview updates on the side as to what the ad looks like. Now, it's quite a good idea to leave as many of these on as you can. The idea behind that is that if we're trying to generate a lead, we're already targeting our 36,000 people. We want each of those people to see this ad in as many places as they can. We want to see it on their phone. We want to see it when they're on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger. We want to bombard them and get inside their head and sell them something, essentially. So it's a really good idea to leave this on as many places as possible so you maximize your reach. However, you can turn them off by just simply hitting them on and off. Now, this is a more advanced feature. We can optimize for leads or conversion leads. This is essentially saying, how much do you want to pay for the ads? I recommend you just leave it be, because Facebook does a really good job of targeting your own ads for your own people. And what I'm trying to say is that it does a good job of pricing it. Facebook has a bidding system where people bid on your ads. People bid on the competitiveness of an ad, and as your ad is better, if your ad performs better, then it costs less. If it's a terrible ad, it's going to cost more. So Facebook does a good job, and just let it be. If you invest in creating a good ad, you'll do it right. So if we hit next, we're actually all finished up with the ad set, and now we're onto the ad. So here we are. We've given it the name already, SA lead generation. We've selected the Facebook page that we're using, and we can link the Instagram account here. If you don't link an Instagram account and you've selected Instagram in the ad placements, which we have, then Facebook just takes your Facebook logo and applies it and kind of creates a fake Instagram account for you, which is great. So you can still advertise on Instagram without an Instagram account. Now, what we want to do here is we want to create an ad. Now, I recommend you should really run a single image ad or a video ad. The two reasons I say this is because people are time poor and they want an interactive, engaging ad that's going to stop them scrolling. And single image ads and video ads do that really, really well. Carousel ads are really great if you're selling products, physical products, but sometimes they can be a bit too overwhelming because there's so much content to go through. So I really recommend keeping it simple. Now, Facebook's already put in some information here. I'm going to delete that. And the first thing I want to talk about when creating an ad that is really engaging and is actually going to generate leads for your business is the photo. The photo is the biggest thing that's going to stop people scrolling, because it's what we all look at. So let's head to Pexels, which is a site for photos, royalty free, and let's look at real estate. Now, what stops people is people. Social media is social. So in your Facebook ad, you want to have someone in there. People want to be able to see you. People want to be able to communicate with each other. We are social animals after all. So I really recommend in whatever ad you use, there's a person. So really take that time to find the right photo that's got someone that's going to stop people scrolling and catch their attention. And that's why we need someone inside the photo. So in this case, I'm scrolling through Pexels trying to find a real estate ad with someone in it. I can't find it. I might add the word person in front of it to help me. Here we go. Photos like this, where we've got a couple in it, a couple looking at a house, are much better. I really quite like this house here. I quite like this photo here. What I like about it is, it's got these great lines running through the photo. It's almost telling a story of a couple looking up at a house. It's really quite an inspiring photo, really. All these photos are great as well. What I don't like about them is, they haven't got the real estate part. So I think this photo here has really captured that idea of the people and the real estate house in the background. Ideally, you do want someone's face in it. And there we go. That's the perfect photo. Because it's been proven for someone's face in an ad works a million times better than content that doesn't have a face in it. So this is the photo we're going to use. I'm going to download that. Thank you, Pexels, and thank you, Kindle. I appreciate this, mate. So I'm going to go back into Ads Manager, and I'm going to click Add Media, Add Image, and I'm going to upload this image. Now, keep in mind, after your photo, the next most important thing is the text. So we'll be going through that next. So I've selected this image, hit next. The next thing we've got to do is crop the image to fit. So like I said before, Facebook has a heap of different places it's going to show your ad. It's got, in this case, story reels, apps and sites. And that size, it wants it to be 9 by 16. It's got in stream and the feed, so your main Facebook news feed or Instagram feed, and it wants it to be square. And then it's got search result and instant articles, which are a longer horizontal format. So in this case, we can crop each image by selecting these ratios here. If we want to adjust them, we can hit crop again and bring it down and apply it to a different spot. In this case, I'm just going to adjust a few of these to make it a little bit nicer. And that's actually quite nice there. I might just center them. And there you go. So now our Facebook ads optimized for all those areas. And we can select done. Now, like I said, the next most important thing is your primary text. Now, as a general rule of thumb, the first thing you should do with your primary text is your first line of the ad up here should be a question which qualifies your viewers whether this ad's good for them. What I mean by this is the question bit should be something like, are you looking to sell your house? Question mark. Now, what's great about leading with a question like that is that immediately, if I'm not looking to sell my house, I'm scrolling past. I'm not wasting my time, so that's really good. But if I am looking to sell my house, I instantly know, wait a minute, I might give this ad 2 seconds of attention time because it might be worth my while. So you start with your leading line, which qualifies your customers, and then we go into our selling spiel. So why should people listen to you? Why should they pay attention to this ad? And in our case, as a real estate agent, we need to give something away. We need to give some value away to bring in the value. And what I mean by this is people aren't going to click on your ad for nothing. We've got to give something to them. So what we can give in a real estate agent is, we might want to say, do you want a free consultation to understand the value of your home? For a limited time only. Wait a minute before I write this. So there's our value proposition. Now what we want to add is some importance and some energy behind the ad and a time limitation, because people got all the time in the world. But what we needed to create some urgency so that people sign up. So what we can write is, for a limited time only, we are doing free consultations with the next 100 homeowners. Now, so there's our qualifying line, our value proposition, and there's our almost a hurry up, like a kick in the boot, like what's going to push them over the edge. So now this might be great, but what we're missing is that it looks a bit formal. It's great, but it's not really made for social media. This would be good in newspaper, but in social media, you really need some emojis and some love in there. So what we're going to do is right click and add emojis. That's specifically for Google Ads or for Chrome. If you don't, you can simply search the emojis and copy and paste them in. So let's add some emojis to make it look more reasonable. Let's add a house. Let's add a $sign potentially. I don't know if that's an emoji. Yes, it is. I might actually use a bag of money in this case. Let's put in this one. And let's end with another property. Well, let's end with a time. Let's end with a clock to hurry people up. Now I can probably remove a few spaces there and that sort of thing. And there we go. Now we're creating a much more interesting and engaging ad. So people scroll through. Are you looking to sell your house? They're obviously using Facebook quite well because there's emojis. Do you want a free consultation to understand the value of your home? For a limited time only, we're doing free consultations for the next 100 homeowners. So there's the basics of our ad. We should probably add a headline and we'll say, in this case, we're going to reiterate what we're doing, which is signing up. Sign up for free consultation. And the description, we might leave blank. We don't really need to have either of these. I do recommend a headline. Description only gets shown in certain spots, but we haven't got anything else to add. Now, a display link is a link that's displayed. So in our case, if we were directing this to my website, RPM Media, for example, we'd display that here. We would display that here, and that would appear here. So we can make this link pretty by simply getting rid of that and getting rid of that. And there we go, much prettier. So the display link isn't the place you're actually going to go to, but it's going to display the link. It's going to be this text above, which is good. We're going to adjust the call to action, but in this case, we're going to leave it sign up because that's what we're doing. Now, because we're running a lead generation form on Facebook, it means we've got to have we've got to create that lead page in that lead area. And this is one that I've created earlier. If you want to sell your house, organize a free consult. There's the next page. Here's where your details are automatically entered because Facebook already has this. So you don't even need to enter these details. All you've got to do is select next. That takes you through to the terms and conditions. Hit next then, and you're all set. So although this is one I've made earlier, to create one, it's super simple. Let's hit create form, give it a name, real estate, lead gen. We've got two form types, a higher volume, so more people going through and signing up, or higher intent. Excuse me. Which is people that are more thoroughly vetted. In this case, go for higher volume. You can give it an intro, give it a background image, put your headline and your description in. Here you add in your questions, select the contact details that you want to collect, whether it's anything from date of birth, gender, military status, to your work email, this sort of thing. You can collect a whole sort of different ideas, and you can collect a whole different things. So add your privacy disclaimer and add your finishing stuff. I've just swum through this because I'll link to a previous video for how you can set this up. And you hit publish Facebook reviews it to make sure that your privacy policies are all real and that sort of thing, and you're good to go. In this case, I'm just going to use the one that I've created earlier. Now, the last thing we have to do is look at tracking. We can track people using the website pixel. So if people click through the website at the end of the form, we'll be able to track that and confirm it's happening. But other than that, we're good to go. All that's left to do is hit publish. Let's have a look at that. And Facebook's saying we might get 0 leads. That's probably because we're not spending enough money. If we hit go to ad set and have a look, you can see that the issue they're saying is that your start date's in the past. So let's set it to today, and there you go. The ad will run for a month at $500. Once again, hit publish, and you're good to go. Facebook is going to review your ad and check it out and make sure it's all legal and hunky-dory, and you'll be off to the races. All you've got to do is look at the results, and these lead generation forms will be sent to your Facebook page, and there'll be a new little tab that pops up that lets you manage those leads. I hope this video helped, guys. I really enjoyed making it. Keep well, stay safe outside. I'll speak to you next time. Ciao, ciao.